Hello and welcome. Right, now if you go back through my channel to the about a year ago, on the 24th of September 2015, I reviewed one of these. Now this is from the Hello Carbot Micro line, and they're roughly legend scale class figures, slightly simplified, but neat little things. And this is Micro Meister, who I reviewed back then, and they did about 4 or 5 other characters from the show in this line. I only wanted Meister because it's a Hyundai pony, it's a little mini Hyundai pony, and I bought it for that reason. Anyway, didn't think nothing of the Micro line, and it wasn't until recently I noticed that they'd bought out a couple of new figures, and one of them caught my fancy. So today I am reviewing Hello Carbot's Micro Starex Dandy Ambulance. And here he is. Now before we get into the toy, let's have a quick look at the box, because they come in these really neat little boxes. And these remind me of the boxes you used to get Matchbox cars in back in the day. And the box, it's got no printing on a couple of sides. Inside, obviously the toy comes in a plastic bag, and then inside the box are the transformation instructions printed on the inside. So the idea is you peel the box open, and then there's your instructions. But you know, I don't need no stinking instructions to transform this thing, so why should I ruin a perfectly good box? Anyway, so here is Dandy. Now, in the show, Dandy was originally a Hyundai Starex, which is like a van, and he was had windows in the sides, and it was like a passenger van. But later on, when he became part of the Pentastorm Combiner, he got an alternative emergency ambulance mode, and that was in one colour. But later on, they did him in a different colour, which is this one. And as you can see, it's white and yellow with the red stripe and the 119, which is the Korean emergency number. Instead of 999 or 911, it's 119. And there he is in his vehicle mode. And it's very nicely detailed, this vehicle mode. It's decently painted. It's got the red flashing lights around the top. It's got the stripe down the side. It's actually got wing mirrors moulded in. It's got a Hyundai badge, front and rear. Got pinned wheels, so it rolls decently well. Moulded door handles, gas cap, grille, lights, the whole shebang. Very decently detailed little toy. But sadly, like the original Micro toy that I reviewed, this guy has got a glaring fault, which will become apparent when we get to robot mode. Now, transforming this guy is fairly simple, but so to start with, you carefully unclip the top of the vehicle mode, and you don't need to be too rough with this, because you can pop bits off, because he's got a few loose ball joints that tend to pop off. Right, so you unclip the top like that, and then you pull this down. This forms the legs. Fold them out and then split them. You then take the top and you fold it out like so. Bring these wingdings up. Fold the back down, and there we have. Oh yeah, we've got the weapon storage as well. He's got his weapon pegged into his arm here, which you just unclip, and there's his weapon, and you can peg it into one of his fists. And there we have Starex Dandy in his ambulance mode, and it's you can see the problem with this guy. no paint on the robot mode. It's just a sea of white plastic, and obviously my lights aren't really helping this matter. Now, he does have a lot of moulded detail, and it's really, really good. His chest has got a great deal of moulded detail on. He's got moulded detail on his arms, and on the insides of his legs as well. On the inside of his legs here. So he's got a lot of moulded detail, but because there's no paint on it, it just gets lost in this sea of white plastic. Now, the other thing, they've had to take some liberties with the transformation on this guy. Now, obviously, the other dandy I've got is the big guy, the original one. And here he is. Now, this guy is just the standard panel van. He doesn't have the roof extension, which has got all the flashing lights in like this guy has. So, in order to get around that, they re-engineered it. And I think they've done a good job of re-engineering the mould and simplifying it for this smaller size. Now, these bits here are the top of the van, and they're on these hinge joints where they come down like that. So you can give him that look instead. And articulation wise, it's fairly well articulated. The head is static. Now you've got the shoulder is on this butterfly joint, which is part of the transformation. And he's got solid arms, no elbows, but the arm is on a ball joint. Like so. And you can get a decent range of motion with the combination of the butterfly joint and the ball joint on the shoulder. Moving down, waist is fixed. He does have ball jointed hips. They go backwards and forwards, and he has got a knee. The ball joints though on his legs are kind of loose, and that's a problem I had with this guy as well. Has got loose joints on his legs, and he struggles to stand up. So that's a pity. And obviously he's got his weapon, which is this kind of axe thing. And he's really, really nice, apart from lack of paint. Now, I'm very disappointed at the lack of paint on these figures. I mean, I would like this guy a whole lot more if he was painted up to look like the character in the CGI. Now, I've got a picture here of what the big version of this toy should look like fully painted. Now, as you can see, obviously because of the way it transforms, it's slightly different. They have the things that plug in here, and he has the top of the top of the roof section, which comes down over his chest, and it's got an electronics thing in it. You press it and it makes sounds and lights. But they've taken a few liberties with the mould and the way it transforms, but I think they're very good. It's just lack of paint. I just wish they'd have taken the time to paint this guy, because it's a disappointment to me. Because if this guy had been painted up to look like the CGI model, then I would have had no problems in liking this guy a lot more than I actually do, and putting it on my TF16 and 2016 list. But as it goes, missed opportunity again. I've had a few Carbots that I've bought where minor decisions in the aesthetics or the engineering has ruined what is basically an excellent toy. And this is just another one of those. I do like him, I like him a whole lot, but I just wish they'd have made a bit more effort to put some paint on the robot mode. I'm very tempted to customise this guy and paint him up to look like the CGI model, and I'm probably going to do it with this guy. This guy, because the front of the car folds down to form the chest, he doesn't look quite as bad in his robot mode as what this guy does, but this guy, as you can see, is just a sea of white plastic. And that's a real shame. I'll do a quick size comparison. There he is next to Combiner Wars Bombshell, Legends class. So they're just slightly smaller than the Legends. Decently articulated for what it is. And as you can see, a lot of moulded detail, just hardly any of it's painted, and that's just a real disappointment. But anyway, that has been my review of Hello Carbot Micro Dandy Meister Ambulance. Hope you've enjoyed this. I do have a few more KTRT bots inbound. Something from the Turning Met Card line. They've brought out a new range called Juniors, which are sort of in between the big ones and the small ones. So I bought one of those. And as we're getting to the tail end of the year, I'm sort of slowing down on the amount of bots that I buy. There's a couple of more KTRT bots I want to buy next month. But as for sending out for international parcels when you get towards November, December, it's not really a good idea because of the Christmas rush. And so I'm slowing down, and you know, as the year grinds to an end. So I've got my strategy worked out for what I want to buy for the rest of the year, and I've basically bought all the bots I want to buy for this month. And in December, there's 2 KTRT bots I want to buy, and then it's basically my pre-Christmas toy hunt, which annual pre-Christmas toy hunt which I do, where I go around the Coventry area and check out all the toy shops. And this year I'm hoping to pick up a bunch of Titans Return Wave 2 figures. And then there's an NEC Toy Fair just after Christmas on the 27th of December, which I will be going to as well. So that's basically my toy buying plans for the rest of the year. But that's it for now. I will catch you all next time. Ta-da.